Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today I am definitely going to make you blush. No, there's no NARS products with naughty names. We just have a whole lot of blush here. We are going to be looking at blush from both Kosas and Haus Labs by Lady Gaga. So happy to have you here. Don't forget that you can also follow my content over on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. We got a Facebook group where you can chat away with each other and all sorts of good stuff. It's all in the description bar. Okay, let's go ahead and get started because like I said, I definitely need to make you blush. We're going to be looking at these new release blushes, powder and cream. So first on the dock, we have Haus Labs. This is the Haus Labs by Lady Gaga Color Fuse Longwear Hydrating Glassy Lip and Cheek Blush Balm Stick. How many words was that? Let's count. That's 11 words. That must be a record somewhere. It must be. Any rate, basically, this is a made in Korea stick, kind of a balm, we'll call it cream, stick that was kind of intended originally to be a skincare stick. And they've added in this, like a serum stick, you know, and they've added in this color and it can be used on lips. In fact, I'm wearing one on my lips already, which we'll talk about in a moment. And they've added color to it and it can be used on cheeks and lips. It's not supposed to be used on eyes. You know, do what you want at your own risk, I suppose, but just letting you know, I don't really see these as great eye colors or formula anyway, but I just thought I would throw it in there. I have 2 of the 8 shades that it comes in, and they are $34 each. We are going to swatch them. We are going to try them both on. I do have one on my lips right now. I got the shades Glossy Acai, like an acai bowl. Do you guys like acai bowls? Comment. That is this one that I'm actually wearing on my lips. And I got Glassy Rosette. Did I say glassy or glossy acai? It's glassy. Glassy acai and glassy rosette. Interestingly enough, I can already say, not that glassy on the lips. Wasn't really that glassy when I did the swatches, so we'll investigate that. But while we are at it and trying on blushes, I am going to have a bunch of face washes in this video, so you will bear with me, though it'll be quick for you. We are also going to look at a powder blush product from Kosas, which a lot of people have been anticipating, and I also picked up 2 shades of. This is the Blush is Life Baked Dimensional and Brightening Blush. That is only 8 words, so it loses in the wordy title, but still lovely. $29 each, also 8 shades. And I got the shade Hype and the shade Euphoria, and we will look at that. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the packaging on both before we do the swatches. So the Haus Labs has that kind of traditional, it's a Haus Labs looking silver. You know, they like this shiny, chromy silver. And when you open it up, we have, a very serum-y looking balm that will roll up and roll back down and has that rounded mound like you would see on a Pat McGrath, kind of similar product in her cheek product, to be honest with you. I'd have to compare ingredients, but that looks very similar. And the Kosas, well, okay, I've been swatching them, and whenever you have these baked kind of marbled products, when you swatch them, it does kind of mingle the shades. But there's a good close-up. There's the Euphoria shade, and there's a good close-up of its kind of, you know, marbled look, which is part Hourglass and part Laura Geller, I guess you would say. Although Hourglass and Laura Geller are certainly not the only people out there who've done these kind of baked products, but that's what it instantly reminds me of. More Laura Geller, to be honest, but, you know, hey, the Laura Geller and the Hourglass, both tremendously good products, so we will look at how Kosas keeps up with that. And Kosas is telling us that we have 12 months, whereas Haus is telling us we have 18 months. So very different product, though. The Haus is definitely kind of a creamy balm. Kosas definitely a powder typical traditional blush, and that baked formula is kind of traditional too, to be honest. All right, let's start off with our swatches. So first in Studio Light, we have the Haus Labs Color Fuse Longwear Hydrating Glassy Lip and Cheek Plus Balm Stick in Glassy Acai and Glassy Rosette. And then next to it, more towards my wrist, is the Kosas in Hype and then Euphoria. I will refrain from saying the full 11-word Haus Labs from now on. Although you've taken away my fun, let me tell you. Okay, now in the outdoor swatches, which we're going to go to in the very warm, let me just complain, very warm California sunshine, I do smooth the product out a little bit on top, so watch for that. Just so you're not seeing it so concentrated. I mean, that's not how you'd wear it. Wear it however you want, but I don't highly recommend that. So let's take a look at this outside in the warm California sunshine. We have our Haus Labs product again with the Glassy Acai and Glassy Rosette. And please note at the top of the swatch, it is sheared out a little bit. And then our Kosas Blushes Life in Hype and then Euphoria. Again, sheared out a little bit. And let me keep that up there for a moment. In the sunshine, you can see that the Kosas actually seems a little bit more reflective than the Haus, which is called Glassy. I suppose it can't help but be glassy because it's kind of a serum consistency. But in terms of dewiness, the Kosas looks a little bit more dewy. But I'm trying these for the first time with you. So we're going to take a look. And I got a lot of face washes coming up. Face wash number 1 will be coming in a moment here as I roll up my sleeves. Let's take a look at the Haus Labs first. And I do have the Glassy Acai on my lips, doing pretty well. Look, I ascribe to the jack of all trades, master of none philosophy with makeup. And though any makeup can go anywhere you want, generally things that are lip and cheek are better on one than the other. They are out there, but it is very rare that you find one that does great in both areas. And I would say that this is okay on the lips. It is coming into the lip lines a little bit. I've only had it on about a half hour while I did other things. It's not faring that well. Nothing is tremendously bad or anything, but the other thing about lip and cheek products is a lot of you are absolutely disgusted by the thought of the same little tip that goes on the lips going on the cheeks. I'm just going by what I have read for years in my comment section, okay? So I did use my fingers to tap this on. You'll be happy to know. That way I can use the little point of it on my cheeks. We're going to put it on both cheeks so you get the full look. I will overdo it. And then I'll just do a face wash and we'll move to the next shade. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. This is a pretty intense shade, but I chose an intense shade. And I got a Sonia G Fusion brush here because it's really good with these kind of products. And what I'm looking for is a nice spreadability. What I do not like about these types of products is that they leave a stain where you first touch down. And I do not see that happening, nor do I see it removing product underneath. And that is a definite plus for this product right out of the gate. There's other things to look for, but that is a definite one. There's also no fragrance to this. Okay, let me put it on the other side. And we'll test that again. Okay, once again, spreading very nicely, not leaving a stain where I first touched my face with it. So common with other products similar to this. Probably because it's a serum-like texture. I don't see it as that glassy, but I don't know if that's one of your requirements. It is in the title of the product, so maybe it is. And I think that's sheared out absolutely beautifully. Okay, let's keep this side the way I would wear it around town. And let's exaggerate this side, just for you to see the color a little more. Not because I think you should wear your blush this way. So let's really go to town here. And of course, if you have a deeper skin tone than I do, you will likely exaggerate it more anyway. But with my skin tone, this will look clown-like. So just to save my reputation, I will keep this side at a normal look. Okay. And as I build the product, I am getting more of a glass, like I do not have highlighter on purposefully. Why do you not have highlighter on, Rebecca? Well, I did not want it to interfere with our blush. So here we have a very reasonable amount that might not be showing up or playing well on camera of the same shade, and this is the Glassy Acai. And on the other side, we have a very unreasonable amount. But even in its unreasonable amount, it looks very pretty, very soft, very blendable, and I'm surprised. That is quite a deep shade for my skin tone, and I think I did very, very well with it. Okay, I'm going to go do face wash number 1, and it's going to wash my lips off too, and then we'll try on the Glassy Rosette shade that you already saw in the swatches before moving on to the Kosas. Do take a moment, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. It is exceedingly helpful to me, and I would appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna go wash my face. Okay, face wash number 1 is complete, and I have switched up the lips as well. On my lips right now is the Haus Labs Glassy Rosette. We did really well with that deepest, darkest Acai shade, which I actually didn't really intend to start with because I think there was the most suspense about how that would blend out, and I think it did really, really well. Okay, let me see. I got another clean brush so that the shades do not intermingle and kiss when they ought not to be. Okay, so let's do the same thing as we did last time. I'll go ahead and start with both sides. Let's see how this blends. Again, blending beautifully. This seems to be quite a pretty product. Now, what if you have kind of oilier skin? Would it roll off of this? No. And I'll tell you why. I have one application here, but I'll tell you why. This is not sticky. It is a balm, but it's not like a sweaty type balm, like it is skincare-ish feeling, but it's not like a sweaty feeling, slide off your face feeling. So I'll show you after I blend this, it really is becoming one and giving my skin a very pretty little flush. I'm tapping, it is not lifting the product below, and it is most importantly not staining where I initially touched my face with it. And again, I used my fingers to put it on my lips. It is giving a little bit of a glossiness to it, but I think the Kosas is actually a bit more. And it is feeling exactly, this is my skin here with no blush, and up here, it actually feels a little more powdered. It could take a powder over it. If you would like to put a powder over this, that is not going to be a problem, let me tell you. It definitely won't be. And that would make it, you can combine it too with your favorite Haus Labs or other brand. I don't need to shill just for Haus Labs. With your, favorite shade, you can kind of complement shades or try to go similar. Or you can just go ahead and use your regular powder that you prefer for setting or finishing. And it looks like that would go over it beautifully. Why am I not doing that now? I'm just testing the product unadulterated, but I will play around with it in life and in other videos and be able to report back. Okay, here is a slightly built up but normal amount of the shade Glassy Rosette. And I have it on the lips. Now let's do an insanely, ridiculously, stupidly built up amount on this side because a lot of people tell me they just want to see the shade really well. And though I have this in the description bar, I have light, medium, neutral skin. I'm a 5.5 in anything Tom Ford, about a 4 or 5 in anything Charlotte Tilbury, an 8 light, medium, and anything that Pat McGrath does. This would go over any, I'm having a good experience, I should say, with this product. Is that enough of an over blush for that shade? And here's our fairly normal amount of that shade. Having a really nice experience with the application of this. And when we talk about it at the end, I will have played with it I'll put it on here and there for the rest of the day and play with this a little bit more after a few face washes, so I'll be able to tell you the longevity as well. Okay, I'm going to go for face wash number 2, and then let's come back and switch to some brushes that are better with powder, and let's try on some of the Kosas blushes. Stay right there. Okay, let's switch gears to some powder from Kosas. Blush is life. It kind of is around these parts anyway. So yeah, face wash number 2 is complete. I got to watch out for the skin barrier here. I do have some clean brushes. We're going to be using some Wayne Goss, and we are starting with the shade Hype. This is really pretty. It kind of looks similar, doesn't it? Well, no, I guess Euphoria, this one, is a little rosier, actually. All right, well, let's see what we got here. And this is, for those of you playing along at home, this is a Wayne Goss number 2. I used a Merit brush and a Sonia G for the cream, or the serum-y product. Okay, let's go ahead and just kind of dot on some of this blush. I'm not going to lie, I have a little bit sore cheek. It feels a little wind burnt. For face wash number 3, I think I will be a little bit more gentle. I must have been in some sort of mad dash. Now this is going on a bit quicker, and again, what I'm doing right now is trying to do just a moderate amount that I would just kind of wear around. Why is it? I just kind of feel like this one is a little bit more luminous. This is much more traditional application. And very different. You know, many people are going to say to me, Rebecca, which one should I spend my money on? Stay around for the end of the video because I'll have some more opinions on that formed. Okay, now let me just try. Again, this is the shade Hype and the blush is Life. And now we're going to do an unholy amount of buildup on the product just on this side of the face, just to have you see what the shade looks like on light medium neutral skin. Built up, much more moderate and normal. 2 different views of this one shade. Very easy application, very easily built, as you see. Very pretty. I used, again, Wayne Goss number 2, just a natural, kind of slightly airy goat's hair brush. But it's not going to be hard to find brushes that work with either of these, to be honest. They don't look like fussy products at all. Well, thank you, because I do have a lot of fussy blushes. And, you know, usually I'm looking at Haus Labs with those really, really bright shades and those powder blushes that, you know, you kind of got to put on carefully and blend and blend and blend. These are still going to give you that really bright look. And I mean the Haus Labs and these Kosas blushes, they're still going to give you that really, really bright look, but it's buildable, so you don't have to, as I joke, put on too much when it's still sitting in its pan across the room from you. Okay, let's do another face wash, heaven help me, and then we will come back and apply Euphoria, which is the shade I'm the most looking forward to, actually, of the Kosas bunch. All right, stay okay, last, but certainly not least, before I give you my thoughts on these, I do want to try on the Kosas Blushes Life in the shade Euphoria. If you are wondering, this is indeed still the Glassy Rosette shade in the Haus Labs on my lips, which is actually faring a little better and has been on a little longer than the shade I had on for our intro, which is the Glassy Acai. This one's actually doing a little bit better, still kind of in lip lines. We'll discuss. All right, let's switch to a clean, brand new brush. This is a Refer prototype fine goat's hair brush, so I'm sorry I can't give you the exact name of that one. But let's go ahead and put this on here. Ooh, this is pretty. This is a bit deeper. That's why I'm using a slightly fluffier brush. But these are pretty, fairly easy to apply, these blushes. It's not, I don't think they're going to give you trouble. You know that one blush that you can only use with a certain brush? This is not going to be it. And this is a deeper shade. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is, because this is deeper, it's much quicker. And I'm putting on a very moderate amount first of this shade. Might not be even. Again, I'm leaving the artistry up to you. I just want to look at the shade. Now let's do a very immoderate amount on this side so you can really see the color built up. I like this shade a lot. This is the Euphoria shade, sorry. And it has a certain almost highlighty quality to it, but it is not highlighting what it shouldn't highlight. I don't see pores enlarged or anything like that, even with this tremendous amount on it. Okay, well, I've been playing with these, and so I have a lot to say. I'm moving my mirror out of the way. And frankly, all of it is really good. Because these blushes were released essentially on the same day, or right around the same time, people are going to want to know which one to choose. Well, it's a little bit of apples and oranges, because one is kind of a serum cream, and one is a baked powder. Not just a powder, a baked powder. So that's comparing apples and oranges, not apples and apples. But they're both blushes. So let's discuss the good points. The good points of the Haus Labs is it spread super easily, built up super easily, did not lift product, very important for a cream or a serum, did not stain where you first applied it, very common mistake that happens with a lot of these little guys in this kind of, you know, creamy consistency, and built up beautifully and seems to wear, from me playing with it yesterday and today, extremely well, but can also have a powder put over the top, be it a translucent setting or finishing powder or a powder color of your choice. The only drawback on this seems to be that it's not perfect on the lips. It's okay on the lips, but it is sinking into lines a little bit. Hey, you know, you can't do it all. But as a blush, I do find it absolutely lovely. And there are 8 shades to choose from, $34. It's a really pretty product, and it's just kind of easy to use, and I like the container for travel. A thumbs up on the Haus Labs for sure. Big thumbs up. Now, let's talk about Kosas, because when we get to the Kosas product being a baked powder, we can really discuss it and compare it to some other powders. In comparing the Haus to other cream or serum-like blushes, I know what I'm looking for. I don't want something that stains or pulls up product. With a powder blush lately, especially since this like Barbie pink thing started last summer, we have had these, and a little bit before that, we've had these electric shades of blush that are always too much from the first kind of bounce onto your face of the brush. This one is not that, and I personally, for one, am grateful for that. I like the fact that I can put this on my face. I can put a little more. I can put a little more. I could build it up to ridiculousness. This was just to show you the shade. Not a serving suggestion, as you know. This is really much more how I would wear it in everyday life. But I could build up from this to this and in between as well. That's nice to know. Whereas I think, frankly, the generalized Haus Labs powders, Patrick Top, even some of the one size shades, some of even the Give shades, you know, they go on like this from the jump, and it can be a bit intimidating or exciting, but then you don't use them. You know, have you ever looked at that blush and you're like, if I put that on, it's going to be too much and I don't have time. I just need something reliable. These are much, much more reliable. And of course, when Kosas says 12 months, they mean it. This is definitely clean beauty. And, you know, Kosas has had some issues with that people have complained about. So we'll see how they fare, and only time will tell. But in terms of a reliable, beautiful, buildable, easy to apply blush, I think both of these are winners. I used different brushes with them all, and it was super simple. So they're not requiring any sort of crazy specific brush. These are lovely blushes. If you have been frustrated with your creams pulling up product, leaving a stain, with your powders being too much right out the gate, I think you're going to be pleased with these. These are right up my alley. Still getting really bright, really exciting, really on-trend colors, but not any sort of intimidating application, which I know for me makes them both a winner. Really, really enjoying these, and I hope you will too if you try them. But you're welcome to ask me any questions below. I mean, after all, that's what makes us a community here at Not Fit for Print Beauty. Make sure that you like and subscribe, of course, and share. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.